Hi everyone in Southbridge, this is Max Gullickson and this is Southbridge Community Television here in our beautiful studio in downtown Southbridge. And here we are in the summer in July, and those who watch regularly may have noticed that instead of my nifty Southbridge Community Television hat, I have on my New England Patriots hat because even though it's July, our boys have reported for camp. And just like Bill Belichick will tell you, do your job. And that's what we do here, and that's what we're going to do today. Today I have with me in the studio a very special guest. I've got Jack Jovan. Hi, Jack.
Max, how are you today?
Good. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks. It's always a pleasure to be here with you guys.
You're a Patriots fan, I know.
Huge Patriots fan, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, can't wait for camp to start. Can't wait for the preseason to go. And
You're right.
Let's get it going, you know?
Yeah, you betcha.
Let's bring home another championship, right?
Yeah.
Six championships. Whoever thought that in our lifetime we'd see that many championships.
It never gets old.
Does not get old. We're spoiled, though. We expected too much now.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Yeah.
So today I got Jack here, and we're going to talk about a little something. Now, Jack, recently you were re-elected to chairman of the Southbridge Town Council.
That's right.
Congratulations. You were there last year.
I was, yes.
You had
Thank you.
You had a good year last year?
We had a great year. I mean, it was
Yeah.
a busy year. We had a pretty aggressive agenda, and I think we laid out an even equally aggressive agenda this year with a lot of projects that we want to get accomplished this year.
So any regulars in town, they know that being a town councilor it's a pretty involved job. I mean, there's a lot of meetings and so forth. It's the top board in town, isn't it? It's the ruling board for the most part.
It is. Our function is we have the town manager that runs the day-to-day functions of the town, but the town council's responsibility is really legislative, financial oversight, and making sure that we set some kind of direction that we want our town to go in. And I think we're in a good line and seeing a lot of progress in the last year plus, and again, a lot of stuff to do. But we need a lot of people to step up and help us in that journey.
Now, Jack, a lot of people might think that's a lot of work, but that's not the only opportunity that a person could have to serve the town. There are a number of boards in this town that if someone had a specific interest, that they could serve on that board and maybe meet once a month and be part of the decision making and in a way, the legislative process, maybe not so much as the town council, but the decision making process in town. Now today, I'd like to go with you. There's vacancies on some of these boards that are available for anyone that wants to get involved, and I have a list of them here, Jack. And what I want to do is run through them with you, and you can describe them briefly to me as I go through. That way, if anybody in Southbridge has an interest, they can hear about it now, and maybe they can step up and decide to become involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only do we have these vacancies in the boards and commissions that we have, but also the town council has several advisory committees that we have citizen input, that citizen members can join the subcommittees and be part of the work that we do as well. The various, we have 5 subcommittees, plus a curbside advisory committee that's fully staffed, but the other advisory committees that handle DPW, protection of persons and properties, education, human services, general government, and Department of Public Works. And those are advisory. They have a vote on the subcommittee meetings, and those subcommittees will vet the different items that come up before the council and give recommendations to the full council. So that's an important board.
Clear. So you got 5 subcommittees of the town council.
Correct.
And on those subcommittees, you have citizen. How many on?
So we have 3 councilors that sit on those subcommittees, and then we have 2 citizen members that can sit on those subcommittees, and they do have voting powers.
At the subcommittee level?
At the subcommittee
level,
So
a total of 5 members, and 2 of them are citizen members that are strictly voluntary. You're not elected.
Correct, yeah, absolutely. And it gives them a good opportunity to find out if they're interested in town government. It gives them a little bit of insight as to what we do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And many members that come from those subcommittees then run for town council because they get a sense of it. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a clue now what it is. They get up close seat to what's going on in town government.
Absolutely.
There's other opportunities. I've got the list here, Jack.
You have
mind
the
if we
list.
go through them real quick?
No, we can go through them, absolutely.
So right there, because it begins with A, the first one on here, and they have 1 3-year alternate position, is the Agricultural Commission. What's that about?
The Agricultural Commission, actually, they're doing a lot of important work right now with a right to farm bylaw. So they're discussing and giving us input as to some of these micro farms that are popping up throughout the communities, to give recommendations as to how we can cite those and encourage local residents to maybe start small farms for sustainability purposes and for their
Like the
own
title implies, agricultural.
agricultural. Absolutely, yep.
Next one's the near and dear to my heart, the Cable TV Advisory Board, where we have a 1 year and a 3 year opening. What do they do?
Well, you could probably say more about what the
Yeah,
Cable
right.
Advisory Committee does.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it to you. But they do. This is a vital committee, I think, for the town. I have to applaud all the work the Cable Committee does.
Yeah.
You have several volunteers that step up and film
Yeah.
our meetings
Yeah.
and provide public access. And it's a vital, informative position. And I think it'd be great to have citizens step up to that because
Yeah.
you guys do a great job. The other night we had a long meeting,
Yeah.
and you hung in till almost 11:30, and we appreciate all the work
Jack,
that
we
you
live
do.
to serve.
Absolutely.
No, that
absolutely.
board is important too, and it is near and dear to me because I work in the cable office, and they're important. They help us to determine what we need to spend and what directions we should go in programming and stuff like that.
And I think it's important this year. I believe that our licensing agreement is going to be coming up for renewal.
Another
so
great
that
point.
that's going to be an important committee
Yeah.
for individuals that have concerns about the cable product that is delivered to the town. If they have want to give input, everybody talks about rates and how the rates are effective.
Yeah, true.
And so that'd be a great opportunity right now for somebody to step up.
You're right,
or
Jack.
individuals to step up for that.
Within this year coming, they're going to renegotiate. We're going to get another 10-year deal. It is a good time.
It is a good time to step up.
How about the Conservation Commission? They've got one vacancy for a 3-year term. I know that they're an autonomous board and do important work. What are some of the things that they do, Jack?
They do. That is very important because if anything that's in a wetlands, that all has to go through their board. So individuals that have a concern about protection of the wetlands, of wildlife in those different areas, that's an opportunity for somebody to step up. And it's a quasi judicial board, so they have power to not grant permits and things like that. So actually, we have some regulations going back to the Conservation Commission for a public hearing coming up. And it's on bylaws relative to setbacks. So like we've talked before about building the new fire station. One of the locations that we had talked about that had been reported out as a possible favorable has some wetlands within the footprint of where that building would be sited. So we would have to go to the Conservation Commission to say, hey, how much of a setback could we do? Can we do this project here? They may give guidance to say, well, you could do this, but now you have to put a buffer in a certain different location. So they have a lot of input, and they do a great job in regulating that to protect our watersheds and wildlife.
Sounds like it. The wetlands are kind of the key to what they do.
The wetlands, yeah, absolutely.
We have the Council on Aging that has 2-year and 2 3-year vacancies. What does the Council on Aging do, Jack?
The Council on Aging, they what it is issues for our elder population. We have the senior center, which I heard in another town is now not going to be called a senior center, if you could believe that anymore.
No.
They want to call it a social center, which because of connotation about senior.
Oh,
I'm not going to get a conversation
Yeah,
about
right,
whether it's
sure.
a social
Yeah.
center or a senior
Well, you
center.
know.
It's
We
an
wanna be
interesting
correct.
concept. We want to be correct.
Yeah.
But the question is, given our age,
Yeah.
can we go to the social center?
yeah, I'm not offended by seniors,
I'm not either.
I'm
you
closing
know?
in on
Yeah,
it. so.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But so those are the issues that affect our elderly, and we also have, a Latino senior program going up at our senior center on Armory Lane. So they would look for funding.
Yeah.
Look for opportunities to bring programs to the elderly, and they manage that specific area.
They do. There's advocates for seniors.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. The Historical Commission has a 3-year vacancy. What does the Historical Commission do for the town?
So you take a look at their job and their mandate is to protect those facilities, buildings, areas in town that have significant historical value. One of the issues that came up, and it's unfortunate, where the timing came, was they were very involved with the Beechwood project up on Main Street.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that Beechwood building had been taken down. They were working to advocate making sure that whatever was there was preserved. So again, we'll go back to the fire station, that we want to either build a new fire station, or individuals have said, hey, let's renovate the old station.
Yeah.
Well, that station is on the historical register, so anything that we would need to do would have to go through that committee. So it's an important board that tries to preserve our past.
So in New England, there's a lot of history.
A lot of history.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
Southbridge, like every other New England town, has this historical.
Yeah, a lot of history. A lot of buildings that you don't think
Yeah.
have historical significance do have parts of it that have been here a long time, and we want to preserve it and not just allow them to demolish the past.
The Liquor Licensing Board, Jack, has a 3-year alternate member, 1 vacancy. What does the Liquor Licensing Board do?
So that board has been looking for an alternate member for a long time. That vacancy has been posted for a number of years. I'm going to go at least
Really?
3+ years that they haven't been able to fill. They're responsible for all the liquor licenses that are issued in the town of Southbridge.
Any idea how many that is?
Don't
I
quote
don't
me
know
on that,
either,
but
yeah.
it involves package stores, bars,
It's a different kind of license.
different
I
licenses,
see.
restaurant, alcohol.
Yeah.
They're responsible for making sure that all the regulations that are set forth by the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission and the town of Southbridge are followed.
I see.
Any violations of those laws go
Yeah.
through that board.
They hear like a hearing almost.
They have a hearing, yeah, absolutely,
wow.
and they have a lot of power. Recently, unfortunately, we had a local business that they had to take some action to because wasn't following the correct procedures.
So they have the power to do that.
They have the power to
authority and the
revoke.
responsibility to do that.
Revoke the license on behalf of the town, and that's their responsibility. And they have they really work closely with the police department. There's an agent on the police department that works for them that does the inspections, and their job is to bring any violations to the board. That board also grants 1-day licenses to the various civic groups, like Trinity Catholic Academy will have an event, say at the LaSalle Center.
Oh, I see.
And they don't have a liquor license, but they want to serve beer and wine for the day. That board can grant 1-day licenses.
For a 1-day thing.
Absolutely.
I got
So,
you. The scholarship committee has 2 1-year opening. What do they do there in the scholarship committee?
It's interesting because we just had this conversation the other day about the scholarship committee to find out how much money is in that scholarship account. Individuals have donated money to the town of Southbridge for scholarships, and they go out to the schools and they put applications out, and then they review the qualifications or recommendations and issue scholarships once a year. So it doesn't really mean a lot, but if you have a interest in education and trying to help young adults, in their college pursuits, it's a good opportunity to.
Oh, worthwhile.
Absolutely, not a lot of time commitment, but you're working to reward a student and assist them in furthering their education.
The Southbridge Cultural Council has some openings, some 3-year openings. What does the Southbridge Cultural Council do, Jack?
Well, cultural events. So sometimes they'll do some programs at Jacob Edwards Library.
Yeah, they sponsor a lot of them over here in the library.
Right,
In fact.
and they get
wonderful
money,
shows over
They
there.
get money from the state and from the state cultural commissions, and it's their job then to dole out those monies on the local level.
Determine locally where it
Right.
should best go.
Absolutely,
Yeah, and I'm happy to say the library is a recipient of some of those.
Absolutely. They
I've
do
been
concerts
over
on
there.
the common. They
another good
some
one
of that
too.
money.
Yeah.
So it's a great commission if you're interested in those cultural type events.
The Southbridge Trails Committee has an opening. What do they do on the Trails Committee? Jack?
Trails Committee. I wasn't even very familiar with the Trails Committee until I got on the council, and the Trails Committee has been very active in trying to promote a rail trail. There's a number of trails that this committee will go out and they'll clean up, they'll promote to get residents and citizens to enjoy the outdoors. They have been very involved in a rail trail project that they want to try to get from the Dudley line all the way to the Sturbridge line, and this would be a continual line throughout town.
I believe I've been on part, like right down by Brookside Terrace. There's a section of it running along the river, isn't
Right,
there?
absolutely, and actually
Yeah.
they're very active. They have a great group of individuals that are really passionate about trails and keeping them clean and keeping them active. And they have maps on the town website. Great committee if you enjoy the outdoors.
And they got room for one more person.
Yeah, I encourage anybody to get out there.
And finally, we got the Zoning Board of Appeals has, they need a 3-year alternate member on that board. Now, the Zoning Board of Appeals, Jack, what do they do?
So you're aware that we have zoning in town.
Sure.
So there might be different properties that don't meet the appropriate qualifications for a zoning. So for instance, we had a project in a section of town where there's a road that has to be repaired. And on that road, part of that project, there's a piece of the property, the individual's property, that may have to be taken down and replaced. And it doesn't meet the current zoning regulations, so they had to petition the Zoning Board of Appeals to get a variance. So
A variance is going to allow them to do what they want to do in spite of the zoning rules.
Correct, yeah.
I see.
And that alternate position would be somebody that would be able to participate in the meetings and serve as in case somebody couldn't serve any longer as an alternate. Because when you have those hearings, when you have liquor licensing, zoning board, if you have a particular hearing on an item, you have to make sure you're there for every step of that hearing and not miss that. Conservation too. So those are very important we call them quasi judicial boards.
These alternate positions are important.
They are very important.
And they're also a good way to find out whether or not you want a long-term commitment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Jack, well, that's it. I mean, we've got quite a few opportunities for people.
And don't forget, we have an opening on the school committee right now.
That's true, too.
We have a vacancy that will be filled by between the council and the school receiver. We've had a lot of vacancies and great opportunities for residents. I would hope we're a town of 17,000 residents. People always talk to us after the fact about some of the decisions that are made. If you really want to get involved in that decision-making process,
They could have been up front
there's
and then had the opportunity to influence.
Absolutely, and we welcome all that input
Yeah.
because we want to hear from the citizens of the town of Southbridge, because it is important, because we can't make these decisions in a vacuum.
And these boards I think they're critical to the town because, like you said, you get a variety of different views on things, and I think that the multitude make a better decision, and they're essential to our way of life. Now, so they're important to the town, but I mean, the people that are going to give their time, what's in it for somebody who's going to give their time to a town board? What can you gain by being a member of one of these boards?
I think, from my personal belief, from where I come from, longtime resident, not born in Southbridge, but I've been here since I was 5 years old, so that's over 50 years.
Yeah, sure.
I love our community. I love our town. And I know it's a great place to live, to raise a family. And we have some concerns right now, but if you want to be part of the change and you want change, then be involved. Because you can't stand on the outside. This is a great way to provide direction. When you talk about conservation, if you're interested in conservation and you want to see land sustained and not growth or growth that's in a way that is the right way to do it, that's your opportunity to be part of that.
So as town councilor, you've got to have a finger in every pie. I mean, you have to have a broad overview. But a person who on one of these boards could more specify the areas that they're the most concerned about.
Right, and I think it's valuable when we have more individuals participate in that because of the fact that we have so many decisions to make on a day-to-day, weekly basis on the council. We really rely on those additional boards to provide us input and recommendations, and have that vetted through that group that they're the experts that can give us good recommendations.
Yeah, they can do the hardcore investigation and offer you what they found.
Absolutely. Planning board, important.
It's a big one.
They don't
have any vacancies now.
They don't have any vacancies.
Board.
Great board, but their planning board. I mean, we have right now going back to the public hearings, marijuana bylaw repeal, and we have how do we want to go forward with zoning that. So they'd take the recommendations as, okay, this is the planning board, our recommendation is for a public hearing to say, this is how we want to recommend to the town council, this zoning should be drafted. Then it would be up to the zoning board of appeals if there was a group that came in and said, well, we'd like to cite something here, but it doesn't meet that requirement, can we get a variance?
Just like
So
you
all
discussed.
those groups have to work together, but we have to do it in a smart approach that we're all on the same page.
It all bubbles up to the council eventually.
It really
for the most
does.
part,
It
yeah.
absolutely does.
All right, Jack. That's wonderful. Jack, thanks for coming on.
Well, it's been great being here.
Yeah,
It's always
yeah.
great to be with you, Matt.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't wait for the Patriots
Yeah,
to
we've
kick
got our.
off.
Yeah, I hate to say we're distracted with our New England Patriots, but hey, it's real.
It is.
And folks out there in Stockbridge, if you're of a mind to get involved with your community, and you don't have to have any past experience, it's okay to be brand new to the whole thing, and you can throw yourself right out there in involvement in some of these boards, and you can find something that's specific to what might be of interest to you. If you have any interest or questions about it, you can contact our town manager's office. The phone number is 508-764-5405, or you can just drop in here to Town Hall on the second floor of the manager's office, and you can inquire, or you can go all the way and fill out a slip of interest, and they will hook you up with the chairman of that board. Jack, thanks again.
Thanks, Mac, and I look forward to coming back.
Thanks, folks, for watching Stockbridge Community Television, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.